All right, call Allah. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bahashim Quadash. Double honesty, apostles, the great millstone, and salutations to you, brothers, pushing the word in sincerity and truth. All right, it says Russia threatens military action against U.S. if Washington strikes Syria. So this is the article from Zero Hedge. It's dated March 13th, 2018. All right, so we already in the third month of March, which is, in the third month, which is March, which we're actually in the first month. All right, and this is from Zero Hedge. All right, so as you know, you had this devil Rex Tillerson, this devil Trump fired Rex Tillerson via Twitter today. So that's national news, and basically he's being replaced by a CIA agent. All right, somebody that was in the CIA, the intelligence community, which is another arm of the military. They do covert operations, and they commit all types of wickedness, through the earth to basically establish that democracy. All right, which is that wine. So he'll be heading he'll be head as the Secretary of State, a CIA agent. All right, now what's going on over there in Syria is that you have the Russian government propping up the Syrian government, which is headed by Assad, and the United States of America. They have interests over there via Israel, via the state of Israel. All right. Now, one thing that when I was meditating on what brother said at camp is the so-called white man has to imitate physically. All right. He has to try to do what we can do spiritually. All right. Because through Yahweh Shah, we're going to extend the borders of Israel. So the Israelis, or the so-called Jews over there in the state of Israel, what they're trying to do is they're trying to expand the borders, but they can't expand the borders because they have the Arabs around them. All right. So they're trying to basically do that cardinally, basically. So that's why we have these things happening. You have these different proxy wars, which is going to lead up to a third world war, which is going to lead up to the nuclear missiles. But we're going to have way more territory over there than what the state of Israel is right now. All right, we're going to have all of those nations in subjection. So the so-called white man has to try to do this through war. And this is what we have going on. All right. So it says, while mystery still surrounds the statement by now former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who on Monday, when he already knew he was fired, said that Moscow was clearly behind the poisoning of Russian double agent Skripal in the UK, and that the Russian action would trigger a response. All right, so you got a lot of, like I said, covert actions going on. Some Russian agent is supposedly got poisoned, and I guess they must be blaming it on the West. And this Rex Tillerson guy saying the Russians actually did it. All this political stuff, which is going to lead to the destruction of America. The Russians and the United States are adversaries. All right, clearly. It said this was a tacit defiance of Trump, as he no longer had anything to lose. It is clear that relations between Russia and the U.S., if not so much Trump, are once again at rock bottom, if not worse. So Russian and United States relationships are at rock bottom. All right. And you could see it in the media. The propaganda is basically conditioning the people to look at Russia as the enemy. All right. This is how the beast works, man. All right. Pretty soon people are going to accept whatever is brought out in the media of what the Russians are doing. And this can lead to a third world war. It says the Russian military threatened action against the U.S. if it strikes Syria capital city of Damascus. All right. The threat of Chief of Russia's General Staff Valery Gerasimov, Gerasimov was reported by Russian media sites such as state news agencies, RIA. Okay, let me read down. Um, Read some of these highlights. It says Russia had reliable information about militants preparing to falsify a government chemical attack against civilians. All right, so Russia, according to this article, Russia has information, all right, on the United States of wickedness. All right, let me go real quick to. This is Nahum 3:6, and it says, "And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock." Let me read up. This is Nahum 3:4. It says, "Because of the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mischief of witchcrafts," that represents Babylon the Great, America, "that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts," and that represents her wickedness that she uses to entice these other nations. All right. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face." See, all of these nations used to do business with America, or aspire to do business with America and be in bed with America. But we're in a time where these nations are starting to shun this society, this Babylon for its wickedness. All right, it says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame." So this is what the United States does behind closed doors to create mischief. In the society. I mean, in the world, the government. Russia has information of the United States using militants that they paid off to basically falsify government reports of criminal attack. And it says, in other words, another U.S. false flag attack, like the one launched in 2013, which nearly caused military conflict between Russia and the U.S. All right, so United States of America skirt is being lifted up as the nation that uses false flag attacks. That's what people are looking at America. Okay, it says the U.S. would then use this attack to accuse Syrian government troops of using chemical weapons. All right, and it says he added that the U.S. would then plan to launch a missile strike on government districts in Damascus. So this is nothing but wickedness, man, and it's going to lead to a third world war. And these are the things that have to take place. You have to have false flags. You have to have wars to lead up to the third world war, the war to end all wars, where all nations are going to be involved in, and Yahweh Shah coming back to take out these ruling governments. Now, let me go right to another scripture real quick. And the Russian stance, you remember when Vladimir Putin would mention the United States of America as partners, but that stance is going to be pulled back. And in Russia backing up Syria and basically being a guard unto them, this is the reason why this scripture is going to take place. Now, this is Ezekiel 38:4 says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws." It's talking about Gog and Magog, modern day Russia. "And I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet." So you have Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, which represent those Hamitic nations, and the Elamites over there in Persia. They and it mentions other nations too. All right, but they're gonna look to Russia for military equipment, help, all tight. They're gonna align themselves. You know, just like the Syrian government under President Bashar al-Assad. Okay, see, it says the comments come as Syrian President Bashar al-Assad regime, which is supported by Russia, continues to carry out airstrikes over rebel-held enclaves of eastern Ghouta, just outside Damascus, and where the U.S. has alleged Assad has again used chemical weapons. So the United States of America is actually propping up rebel groups. All right, and the Russians have information of it. So United States is not able to hold the moral high ground because of the treacheries. All right, and the Lord is bringing it out and letting the nation see the shame. That's why the skirt is being lifted up. All right, it said the war is also seen as a battle for influence between Russia and the West in the Middle East. As ISIS influence has waned and rebel-held locations reclaimed, Assad has regained the upper hand in Syria, and so has Russia. So Russia and Assad, they gained the upper hand in their country. So the United States has to find a way to circumvent those gains and find a way basically, this is war, man. All right, and if you don't understand that this is war, this is the early stages of a war, because people are dying. All right, the heathen is just dying. Civilians are being displaced. All right, if you don't understand that, then you just don't get it. You don't understand this part of prophecy, then it's not for you. But it says to Keynesians as World War III. All right, so this is rhetoric right now, but it's actually going to turn into a full-scale war where you're going to have millions or even billions of people dying. Okay? All right, so with that being said, call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushua by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Double honesty, apostles of great millstone, and salutations to you brothers pushing the word in sincerity and truth. All right, shalom.